Hey everybody, good morning. It's about 8:24 in the morning. It is the 16th of December, 2021. I'm here to do a full market analysis. We're going to be looking at Bitcoin. We're going to be looking at the S&P 500, and we're going to be taking a look at Nasdaq. These three markets are what I have been paying attention to for the majority of the last 2 weeks. So I think it's very important as we approach what we discussed not that long ago about a potential short on the market. And I want to take a look and see if the thesis is still intact. Okay. All right, apologies for that. It appears that I was having some network connectivity issues, but at any rate, just wanted to take a look here and just check and see that everything is still intact, everything looks good. So before I get into any of this, as you all know, it's not financial advice. I'm not your financial advisor. You're responsible for your own trades, managing your own risk, doing your own research, and I'm just giving my opinion on the market. Let's go ahead and take a look at the charts. All right, so I've got Nasdaq on here, and this is back from my video that I did not that long ago. It was last week. We were taking a look at potentially taking a short on Nasdaq. At the time, if I remember correctly, our price was actually down here in this range. We were down at about 15,008, 15,009, and I had outlined this area of chop, and I said more than likely we're going to go back into that area. We're going to chop around, and as you can see here, I had outlined it pretty well. And it's basically exactly what happened. I can move it over here to the right, and it's basically following almost exactly, with the exception that it did go deeper, right? So I'm going to remove this for the time being, just to kind of clean things up. What I'm looking at here is, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 into the A, B, C into the B, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 into the C. And then from down here, I've got a nice little 1, 2, 3, little 4, and then a 5 into the A, and then an A, B, C into the B. So this all works out pretty well. And what I've done is I've taken this dominant pivot low, dominant pivot high, and then we've got our little pullback, and that's this guy right here. I'm going to kind of pull it out here so you can see what I'm doing. I'm paying attention to all three of these pivots and saying that, all right, well, I would expect, since we passed the 618, that we're going to go to the 100. And the 100 is sitting right up here at about 16,641. And this is on NASDAQ futures. So the actual contract is going to be slightly different. It's going to be just slightly off. But it looks like high probability for us to go up here to 16,641, somewhere in this range, by tomorrow. Very, very likely by tomorrow. And I've talked about the reasoning why many times. And one of the main reasons why is because the open interest in our options, open interest in options. We've got a ton of options that are going to be expiring tomorrow. For Nasdaq in particular, let me see if I can put this in here. For Nasdaq in particular, we have. And let me just put this in here so that you can see this and increase the transparency. All right, so we have 2,969,000 contracts that expire tomorrow, and 67% of them are in puts. So this is the percentage of the open interest that's in puts, and that's 67%. That's a significant amount, right? So basically, you've got basically a 2-to-1 ratio on this. You only have one call for every 2 puts that are there. Well, that money has to evaporate. And so, in my opinion, basically you've got 2 million contracts that are going to expire worthless. And the reason, or the way that these contracts expire worthless, is by the price going up at that expiration date, which is the 17th. The next day we have a significant amount, and by significant I'm talking about over 1 million contracts, isn't until January 21st. Like certainly the 31st of December has some open interest, but it's nothing in comparison for tomorrow. When we look at the S&P, you're going to see something very similar. So short term, what do I think today is going to do? Well, I think today, for the most part, is just going to kind of move sideways. It may actually move down a little bit. It would be fine if we came down to about 16,281. If we got a move down to 16,281, if this actually happened, we went down to below 16,300, I actually get calls for tomorrow. They're going to be very, very cheap. I would treat them as lottos, because I could be completely wrong here. Because so far, this green box that I've outlined, which is based off of these lows, these highs, we came back and retested the high, we came back and retested the low, we broke down, we retested it, we fell, but then we came right back up into it yesterday. A huge day yesterday, just for the record. Now, we retested the high. We're going to talk about S&P here in just a minute, but this looks constructive still for more upside. From this dominant pivot low, this dominant pivot high, and then this pullback here, and that's basing off of this guy, right? So very, very similar. The 2618 was realized, right? So in a strong move, 1, 2, 3. Again, this looks like we're in a 4 for today, and then we'll go up for the 5. And this guy is going to be moving out here. And the same thing with this box, we're going to move him out. I believe we're going to see the new trajectory, at least what I believe is going to happen. We're going to come down here to the median, and then we're going to go up here, we're going to do a retest, and then we're going to move up. And again, that's going to be into the 17th. I know the dates aren't exactly right here. I think it's going to happen very quickly, but I believe that from there, we're going to see that significant move down. All right, so let's talk about the move down, because again, this is something that we've been talking about for a while. We're looking at this entire structure from this dominant pivot low here to this dominant pivot high up here. We didn't quite make it to the 50 back here, and I think we're either going to come back to the 50, or we're going to go down to the 618, which is kind of where I really would like to see things go. But as far as the channel that I have in here, and I could zoom out more if you wanted me to, but I'm going to just basically focus on this pivot right here at about 15.5. I'd love to see it move down to 15.3, but 15.5 makes sense, right? So if we have an ABC, ABC, and then we have, basically 3, 3, and then we have 5 waves down, this would be a great contender for a great, I don't want to say generational buy, but I think this is a great place to be buying, maybe longer term. So just be careful in the short term, because I believe it's very likely into New Year's we're probably going to see some selling. Once we get into 2022, you've got 1.8 million contracts on January 21st, 2022, 64% are bearish. And March 18th, 1.2 million contracts, 73% are bearish. June 17th, 1.26 million contracts, 78% are bearish. That money is going to evaporate, or at least the majority of it will. And the only way for that to happen is for those puts to expire worthless. All right, so just very simple analysis on here. A lot of people are bearish. We're at all-time highs. People want to short. There's nothing wrong with that. But a lot of people are going way, way out on their puts. And I'm just saying to exercise some caution there. All right, enough about Nasdaq. Let's talk about the S&P. Because the S&P is doing some fantastic things right now. Okay, S&P looks much different than the S&P, because S&P looks much different than Nasdaq, because S&P is actually making new highs, or at least the futures made new highs. They poked up above new highs. I actually think, based on the fact that the S&P went from this dominant pivot low here to this dominant pivot high, and we did a 50% internal retracement, I think S&P is going to go to 4780. It may go up to 4800. So this looks very, very constructive. Looking at the waves, and I didn't look at the waves on Nasdaq, but we do have a little bit of selling here. The 12-hour has curled upward, and if I zoom out, it curled upward actually at the very top, which is, be very cautious on a 12-hour cross at the top of a range. But the fact that we came back here to the 50 looks to me like we're going to go up to about 4780. And again, you've got the same 1, 2, and then a little 1, 2, 3, 4, 3, going down here into the 4, maybe a little retest down here. Maybe we come down a little bit further to 4710. Then we move up to the 5, which is going to be that move up there. So let me just go ahead and just mark what this looks like to me. So we've got a nice little 1, 2. I think the 3 is in. Then we go down for the 4, potentially down again about to 47.10, and then we go up for the 5 to 47.80, 4800. I don't know what it will be just quite yet, but it looks to me that that is the target that we're going to hit. So if you happen to be in a long position down here, which our insured members are long, we've been long. We captured a long back here. We sold it up here. We bought it again down here. We sold it again somewhere in here, somewhere in here. Admittedly, we could have captured more profit on that, but we didn't. That's okay. But then we got back in down here, and that position is up significantly as well. We do have some members that made over 100% on the QQQs yesterday. It was just an absolutely insane move that we were able to capture. That was fantastic. So right now, I think we're going to grind a little bit for the day. Tomorrow or overnight, probably overnight, because we have AM expirations on Nasdaq tomorrow. I'm not actually quite sure if there's AM expirations on SPX, but at any rate, I think overnight there's going to be a move up. So likely you're going to have to position yourself before the end of the day today. Otherwise, tomorrow it's probably just going to move sideways. So you have to position yourself early to protect yourself against potential chop tomorrow, so you can close that position and profit tomorrow, or just wait it out if you've got a really great position. So that's what I'm thinking for the S&P. If we want to put this in correlation with Nasdaq, potentially the WXY here. So you got 3 waves, and then A, B, C. So again, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. This really does work out nicely. So from down here, a nice, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 1, 2, 1, 2, 3, 4, 3, 4, 5. Okay, you can see that pretty well. And then we have a 3-wave correction. So numbers with the trend, letters against the trend, A, B, C. Okay, so that leads me to believe we've got 5 waves up and we've only made 3. We're working on 4. And then we go up for that last 5th wave. And again, I believe it's going to happen today or tomorrow. So again, position yourself accordingly. That's what I'm looking at here. I will absolutely take a look at AMC for you. All right, so let's take a look at Bitcoin. Everybody's interested in Bitcoin. Bitcoin is honestly just moving sideways. There's no real conviction. Certainly yesterday there was a decent move up. Now we're consolidating above an important level. Excuse me. Let me pull up my moving averages here. I'll take a look at moving averages on Bitcoin. So where are we at right now? On the 1 hour. Okay, on the 1 hour, we're trying to maintain above the 21 exponential. We did a retest of the 30 simple. We're trying to do a retest of the 55 and the 100, which are trying to pull bearish. Now, your shorter time frame moving averages are obviously going to cross quicker than your longer time frame moving averages are, right? So the hourly, things are starting to cross upward. Now, admittedly, they were crossing upward up here, and then they fell. Now they're trying to, again, we're trying to hold above that 21 exponential. The price action right here reminds me a little bit of what happened back here before there was one more move up, okay? We're talking about in the S&P, and we're talking about a Nasdaq for one more move up, okay? But I think it's going to occur throughout the day. What do we see down here? Well, I see the hourly starting to pull back. The hourly is resetting, but the price isn't moving down significantly, which leads me to believe that we are probably going to see another move up. This looks to me like, an ABC, 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 probably going to come back down here. And then I think from there, I think we are going to see that move up, okay? I think we're going to see it. So again, what I'm doing is I'm taking this dominant pivot low here, this dominant pivot high up here. We're getting this pullback. I'm looking for a move potentially up to, this takes us to 57. I really honestly doubt that's going to be the case. I'm more in line with taking a look at about 52,000 to 53,000. Somewhere in this range, I think is where we're going to land. I need to clean up the left side of the chart, so I'm not going to zoom out too much here. But let me move to the 4 hour, just looking at these moving averages and what we've got. We are above the 21 exponential clean on the 4 hour. If we get a retest on that, again, that would fall in line with a little bit of a lower move, right? So again, A, B, see. If we get a retest of that 21 exponential, I would be a buyer on that all day long. Again, I've been kind of sharing my thoughts on our Discord about layering in Bitcoin. And basically, the way I've been playing it here recently, because there's been a lot of chop, I've been layering in and then doing a sell with just modest profit. Then layering in again and then taking a sell. Like for instance, I was layering in down here, I sold out of that position up here. I was layering in down here, I sold out of that position up here. I layered down here, sold out of the position up here, and I'm layering again, looking to sell a little bit of that position up here. I'm just trying to take advantage of some of the arbitrage opportunity with the relatively low volatility in the market right now. So that's kind of where I'm at on Bitcoin right now. And again, from down here, you've got a little A, B, and then I think, again, that move up is very likely. So let's just go back to an hourly here for a moment. And, excuse me, we're going to take this dominant pivot low over here. We're going to take this dominant pivot high up here. And then we're going to get the pullback. And where's our 100 and our 123.6? Because those are the targets that we would be looking for. Well, you've got the 100 at 49.8. You've got the 123.6 here at 50,000. The 1618, which is up here at 51,951. And then, of course, our 2618, which is probably not going to happen, at least this year, is going to be at 55.6. But these are the targets that I'm looking for, especially right up here. And again, I'm talking about 52 to 53. The 1618 is sitting right there at 52,000 almost exactly, which would be, we'll call it a double top. It's hard to call it a double top when we are lower than where we have been. But that price action, it takes us right there. So that looks like a good zone to be shorting. Starting to layer in at about 52, taking it to potentially 53, but I'd be looking to cut losses if it does happen to move above 53,250. So low leverage short, that's what I'm looking to do, but I am looking for a move higher, especially if we can do a retest of the 100 exponential on the 1 hour, which is currently sitting. Let me just pull up my data sheet here. The 100 exponential is at 48,333 on the 1 hour. The 21 exponential is at 48,319. So, moving averages are magnets, mean reversion, and it would appear that we're going to move down to about 48.3. That's where I would be looking to buy. All right, so I've got a couple of requests here that I'm going to take a look at. Let's take a look at AMC, and we'll take a look at Solana. So AMC, something honestly I haven't looked at in a while. Let's go to the hourly. All right, so I got moving averages on here. Let me just go ahead and clean off the chart completely. All right, so zooming out, and we're on the hourly chart. Man, AMC, this actually, there's a little bit of a gap up overnight. Nothing super, super serious. I would honestly say that we're probably going to see another low here. And that's based off the fact that, and this is really interesting. So we actually bought in the insured group back in January of 21. We bought AMC at about $1.98. I still kind of kick myself for selling it. We sold it at like 100% profit, but obviously we know what happened. Hindsight's 2020. But this looks like, a longer correction that is in place. So let's go ahead and move to a 4-hour time frame. Zoom out a bit, and let's just take a look and see where we are. Yeah, all the moving averages look bearish right now. We got rejected off the 21 exponential on the 4-hour. Honestly, it doesn't look great. We got to reclaim this 21. For us to see really continued upside. It'd be really, really great if on the 4-hour we can reclaim the 200, which is this red moving average. We tried to find some support here. We eventually rejected it. And then we retested it, rejection, retested it, rejection, retested it, rejection. We broke up above, fell down below next day. Broke up above, we retested it, but it eventually did fail again. And then from there, finally, the bulls were like, you know what, okay, we're out. And then it's gone down ever since. Now, let's take a look using our tools. Dominant pivot high right here at all-time high. At least I believe it's all-time high. Then we take our dominant pivot low right there. We get our pullback. What happened? We went to the 100% almost exactly. If we broke that low, now would I take a trade here? I probably would not take a trade there because you'd be looking at an 18% stop. It would have been fantastic if you were sitting here 2 days ago and you saw that move down here at about $21. Obviously, that trade is long gone. Hindsight's always 20/20. But if we broke down below that, I'd be taking a look at a move down here to $17. So I'd be looking to buy at 17. But for right now, honestly, it looks like it could see a move to the upside. We are at, actually, we're above in pre-market. We're above the 21 exponential in the hourly. We're below the 55 exponential in the hourly. But taking a look at the 4 hour, I talked on the last ticker about moving averages being magnets and talking a little bit about mean reversion. So a move here to the 21 seems likely. That's at 28.34. Taking a look at some support and resistance levels, I'm taking a look at candle closures right now. Look at these candles here. Look at these candles here. This level, important. That level is important. Okay? The next level that's important is going to be right here. And I'll outline what I'm looking at there. I'm looking at this candle specifically. I'm looking at these candles. I'm looking at these candles. So there is importance at 29.44. There's importance at 27.56. Next level that's going to be important to me, let me zoom out just a little bit. We're looking at these. Oh, and actually just take a look over here. That level at 29.44 also acted as support back here at the prior lows. So if we went back here to retest that, I would expect that we would get a rejection. That's what I would expect. That's not exactly what is always going to happen. Next level of importance is going to be right here at 33.58. We have candle bodies all over the place back here, paying attention to those. We've got some support here, and then also some candle bodies right here, and then we have a wick right there. So that level at 33.58 is very important. If we break 27.56 and hold up above it, yes, I think we're going to 29.44. If we break up above 29.44, very likely we'll get a little bit of resistance at 30.83, but I think it's going to go to 33.58. So it's just taking the steps up and trying not to take the elevator down, right? Obviously, you want to catch this move. It's not going to happen anytime soon on AMC. I'm sorry. It actually happened twice. Big move up here, pull back. Consolidation, big move up here, pull back. Consolidation, I doubt it's going to happen again. At least not in the same way that it happened earlier in 2021. I would say that there's going to be lots of chop here because, when you get a big move, this is what causes people to get emotionally involved in stocks, which I don't want to turn this into a lecture session, but don't get emotionally involved in stocks. As you all know, I am a corrective trader. I like to buy things that have pulled back, especially at technical targets down here. If your stop loss, if your risk makes sense. I don't like to risk 17% on a trade. That's a lot. In crypto, that's different. But in stocks, no, there's no reason to put that much risk on the table. I like to risk, 4 or 5% tops on any trades that I take in equities. I just be very careful trying to catch a big move up because I just don't think it's going to happen. I think we're probably going to get a bearish throwback to one of these 3 levels that I have outlined here, 27.56, 29.44, 33.58, and then I think it's going to fall from there. Would I buy here? No. Would I have bought yesterday or the day before? Maybe. If I was sitting there and I was there right at the market open, sure, I probably would have. Going back to the hourly, the waves looked okay down here. We've got the 1 hour, the 3 hour, the daily, and the weekly is getting lower. That would have been a decent place to be buying down here at our extension targets. I don't think there's a good trade today on AMC. All right, let's move into Solana. All right, and so we'll do this, and then we'll go ahead and close things out. All right, so 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. This could be a sign for a leading diagonal here into the 1, 2. Let me just measure this here really quick. So from here we've got the 1, 2. It's very possible Solana goes to 193 to 194. Likely that's where it's going to get resistance at 193 to 194. I'm going to go to the 4-hour on this guy. So the first things first, the 12-hour on Solana is very bullish right now, which leads me to believe that it probably will see slightly higher prices. Elo on the server had a really good, a good gut feeling that Solana was going to go up, and it's gone up pretty significantly since then. So that's a great call on his side. He's talking about taking profits here, which 100%. If you are in a trade that is super profitable, right? So I mean, let's just say you got in halfway down on that pullback. I mean, you're up 16%. I mean, for some people in crypto, that's just not worth it. But it is. You have to realize that when you're in a profitable position, you got to capture some of that. Solana is looking okay right now. I mean, I'm going to go to the 4-hour here in a moment, but we're above all major moving averages. The 55 and the 100 on the hourly have crossed bullish. Like, okay, are we going to get a pullback to the 21? Probably. Is Bitcoin going to be what causes that to happen? Probably. But I'm still saying that, shorter time frames look okay on Solana. I'm going to go to the 4-hour here for a moment and zoom in. All right, because I want to take a look. Where we're at right now is really a great place to be taking profit. And the reason why, look at this wick right here, right? So we had some support here, support, support, a little bit of broken support, some support here. And this is, this is kind of where we would expect there to be a bearish retest of resistance, okay? Bearish retest of resistance. So from here, it can be tricky. It can be tricky. Let me zoom out just a little bit more. More support back here, more confluence, candle bodies all around. This is an area that I would be very, very cautious. You know what? I'm actually going to pull a fib on this entire move and just kind of see where we're at, because it looks like we are approaching. Yeah, we're approaching this 382. This 382 is sitting here also. Yeah, I would say 190 to 194 is probably where I would close out that position. You've got the 200 exponential right there at 193.40. The 1618 is sitting right here at 193.81. So yeah, I would highly suggest taking profit at 190 to 194. If you want to layer out, whatever that may be, that's what I would suggest. Maybe just close it out here, depending on where you got in. It's only a $4 move. $3 move actually, because we're almost at 187. So we're talking about, actually it's more than $3, but between $3 and $6 from where we're at right now on a move that has already gone up, $35. So I would maybe not try and be greedy, not try and capture a whole bunch of that. So, maybe Elo's suggestion about taking some profit on Solana, that it would be sound. It'd be a good decision to make. All right, I've got one more request that I'm going to go ahead and then I'm going to call the video. Avax. Okay, so on Avax, right here, we were taking a look at this. Looked bullish. I'm on the 4-hour. Let me go back to the hourly. All right, so on this, we came back and we hit the area where we would be looking to enter the position. So this position is currently looking good. I had outlined potentially, taking a stop loss down here at the lows. This is a 15% stop loss. It's a trade that I was comfortable with. Currently in pretty significant profit. So from the area that we got in, it's currently up 22.5% from where we entered. I'm still looking for a move up here to the median, but the rate at which it's getting up there, I actually think it probably is going to go a bit higher. I was looking for this to be a 100% trade. We'll see where it goes. At 174.55 is likely where Avax is going to go. It's currently at 109.38. Is there a good trade here? No. Don't look at this and say, oh, okay, well, I'm just going to go ahead and buy here. My stop loss is 15%. If you got in now and you went for my stop loss, you'd be stop lossing at basically 30%. Do not buy here based on what you see on the screen right now, because your risk is now double what mine is. And I'm actually to the point now where I could say, all right, well, let me just limit my risk now. I'm going to move my stop loss. because now I don't really need to risk a whole lot. I'm already up 20% on this trade. So there's no reason to take that risk at these prices. Certainly, I think it's going to go higher, but we're at a point right now where we're probably going to get a pullback. Then you're going to get scared. Then you're going to sell, and then you're going to lose money. Now, don't do that. Don't do that. Buy things when it technically makes sense. But Elo is talking right now, and he's like, yeah, it might be in a larger flat correction, right? Could be a 335, could be 333, whatever that may be. It's very possible that this is, we'll call it, A, B, C, A, B, C, working yourself maybe just up here, again, to the median. Could stop here at the median, right? If it gets up here to the median and it's an obvious rejection, well, I'm out. That's just as simple as that, right? That probably is going to end up being like a 40-50% trade, right? And then probably we'll roll over from there. We'll have to wait and see. But we came back here to the 618. We're seeing a decent reaction off of it. Some of the highest probability trades that I've seen are off of a 618 pullback. And it's to either the 236 or the negative 236, right? So if you wanted to take some profit here at 120, you could certainly do that. I'm really looking for a move to 175. But again, if it gets here to the median and it starts to reject, I'll be the first to get out of that trade. That it would make sense. But definitely move up your stop loss, at least a little bit to reduce your risk, because the trade has already moved in your direction. So if it goes against you now, well, then your thesis was probably wrong. So if you move up your stop loss, well, at least then you are limiting your risk, right? So that's just my suggestion there on Avax. All right, guys, I'm going to go ahead and end the video now. If this video did help you in any way, shape, or form, you know the deal. Like, subscribe, share, all that good stuff. If you need access to our Discord, visit BitDoctor.org. You'll find some links for our free community access. You'll find access to our Insured, where we do equity trades, our Insured Plus, where we do spreads and options, and also access to our indicator if you want access to our indicator, which is what I use in all of my trading. And of course, wherever you are in the world, I hope you're having a good day, a good night, and a good evening. Take care, everyone.